Hey, welcome to Long Shots. It's Friday night again. You're sitting here with the host, TheRhino, and we're going to talk a little bit about some sports betting action and some stuff that's in the news this week. So you're going to want to jump in the chat for this one and follow along because there's some interesting things happening, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. First up in the news is I don't know, you probably heard that Donald Trump is talking about legalizing sports betting, and his quote was, "We wouldn't do it lightly." What that means, we just don't really know, but he is pushing forward with that. We haven't seen any of this legislation, but there is some talks going back and forth, and it's mainly with the league. So the question now begins to unfold is, how is everybody going to get their piece of the pie? How's the NFL going to get their piece of the pie? The MLB, NHL, everybody. You noticed that ESPN had begun layoffs and laid off a lot of sports broadcasters and anchors and writers throughout the nation. So they're backing off a little bit. They're also backing off on NHL. So what that means, I'm not really sure, but it is happening. So we don't know if this is, them getting in position and altering some strategy towards sports betting being legalized. We don't know at this point. But Donald Trump was quoted as to say, "So we wouldn't do it lightly. I can tell you it will be studied very carefully, but I would want to have a lot of input from a lot of different people." What he's referring to when he means different people is the sports leagues. They're going to have to get everybody together, which is going to be really hard to do, getting the leagues together and then let alone getting them together, but getting them to agree on how this is going to unfold. So we do know that the NBA and Commissioner Adam Silver has said that they favor the regulation. And although that stance falls short of actively lobbying for it, which they have not done, we know they are in favor of it. Major League Baseball and Commissioner Robert Manfred seem to be softening their stance and moving closer towards the NBA's position. So it seems like the dominoes are starting to fall, and the NFL and NHL are still against legal sports betting publicly. I believe that there may be, this is my speculation, but I believe that there could be some fear of athletes or coaches getting involved in fixing games, which is entirely possible. It's been done in the past, so, you just never know what's going to happen. One comment. It was about NASCAR, but we're not. Anyway, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So if you want to chime in, jump in the chat, you can reach us over at LongShotsTV on YouTube. We are live right now. So jump in the chat and give us your take on sports betting and what you think should happen and some of the problems that they're obvious and how we might be able to overcome those. But guys, it's not going to happen anytime this year, but it will happen soon. So need to be behind it. Jump into support groups or wherever you can and make sure you're doing your part to help them get this on the table. So on the table and done. Law enforcement, they're kind of iffy both ways as far as sports betting goes. It would be difficult to gauge what they're saying as a whole. I think that realizing sports betting has some pros and cons. Spend a lot of time, I should say, trying to shut down illegal sports books, but domestically, when one is shut down, another one pops up. So they're fighting a losing battle. So a lot of them are just saying, let's let it happen as long as it's regulated. Guys, you got to realize too, for law enforcement, most of the sports betting is going to be done either in casinos or online. And I think that if the bill passes and it is legalized, much more sports betting will happen online because it's going to just be easier to do. So as far as law enforcement having an issue with that, I can't see that happening too much. Not to say that they won't, but so how interested is Trump in this issue? Parsing anything Trump says can be difficult, but here's the read. Trump gives us some political speak, which he's good at. The idea that an issue takes more consideration is often the equivalent of a non-answer in Washington terms. That being said, Trump is clearly at least aware of the issue and the variables in play. He talked at length about getting the leagues involved in any effort to legalize sports betting, which would be a crucial step. Trump could have punted even more than he did if he wanted to avoid the subject, but at least he showed a mild interest and a willingness to think about the issue. So, positive notes, we're moving in the right direction, guys. Let's jump on board whenever you get a chance or see somewhere where you can be supportive of the issue. Please tack on. Okay, let's talk about some sports betting, guys. There's a lot of baseball action happening tonight. Atlanta Braves are down there at Miami, and let's see, Atlanta's up 2-1, top of the 7th. New York Mets at Milwaukee, Harvey Garza, and Milwaukee's up 2-0 there. Chicago and St. Louis, they're in the bottom of the 3rd. Chicago 1-0 in that game. LA Dodgers and Colorado Rockies. Colorado's been putting up some big numbers, but Kershaw's on the mound against Chatwood, and LA Dodgers lead them 3-0. Top of the 2nd inning there. So if you had the over in Colorado, that's always a good bet. Houston, New York, McCullers and Montgomery. Houston's up 4-0. That is top of the 7th. And then we go to Minnesota and Cleveland. Santana against Tomlin. And Minnesota is up 1-0 in that game, top of the 8th. Seattle and Toronto, Bergman, Biagini. And Toronto is up 4-0 over Seattle. Tampa Bay and Boston, Cobb Porcello. Tampa Bay is up 5-0, bottom of the 6th. So looks like Tampa Bay is going to run Boston in that game. Oakland and Texas, got Hahn and Cashner. They're at the top of the 4th. It's a pitching duel. It's 0-0 in the top of the 4th. Then we go to go to Kansas City. Duffy against Baltimore Royals and Bundy, and that's 1-1, bottom of the 3rd inning. So, one more game underway, San Diego and Chicago White Sox, Chasen and Gonzalez, and San Diego is up 3-0 there. Okay, a couple of late games, guys. Well, first off, Philadelphia to Washington was postponed. I imagine that's due to rain. At 9:40, Pittsburgh at Arizona, Glasnow and Corbin. Arizona is getting 139-140 at home. Guys, here's a perfect opportunity. Pittsburgh has lost, I think, the last 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 games there. I think they can get to Corbin in this game, so Pittsburgh may be a good wager. If you're looking at that, it's a perfect live dog situation. I know a lot of you don't like dogs on the road, but I do, and I think that's a good game to look at. If you're laying a bet at 9:40 p.m. tonight, you might want to take a strong look at Pittsburgh in that game. 10:15, Cincinnati at San Francisco, Johnny Cueto against Feldman. Cincinnati's been hitting the ball well, but you got Johnny Cueto on the mound. That's why the line is at 150, 152, 155 in some places. It's kind of hard to go against San Francisco and Cueto in this situation, but don't count the Redbirds out. They did pull it off the other night. Let's go. At 10:07, Detroit at LA Angels. Okay. Shoemaker and Zimmerman. That makes for an interesting pitching match. LA Angels are favored 138, and that's another opportunity, guys. Take a long, hard look at a live road dog right there. because I have a feeling Zimmerman's going to give him enough innings to hold him down and should put up a few runs. Yeah, nobody's hitting really, solidly right now. They're all a little bit not banged up, but none of the big lines are hitting very well right now on either side. So it's a good opportunity, I think, with Zimmerman on the mound to Detroit to pull out a 5-4 win. So that might be one to look at, guys. All right. Don't have any, yeah, we do. I'm sorry. One game in the NBA. Boston Celtics, Washington. It's 42-41 at halftime. Interesting game there. The Celtics, I believe I took the points in that game against Washington at +5. So looks like a decent play there so far. That was a good game. If any of you jumped on that, which there's a few of our guys did out there, a couple other cappers that I talked to also were leaning towards the Celtics. But anyway, guys, we've got a little bit of time here, and it is Friday nights, and guys, Orioles is the big play. It's 1-1 nothing, 1-1 right now. And guys, I'd like to hear your questions. I've got my optimizer up and running to a point now where I can actually do it, run it live. So if there's any games for tomorrow on Saturday that you would like to know what you think my prediction model, what the outcome would be, please shout them out to me and I will get them to you. Let's take a look at a couple of them. There's a couple games that I am definitely keying on tomorrow. One of them being the Pittsburgh-Arizona game. Right now the line is Arizona -145, and the over/under is 10.5. So after this, game tonight, I'll take another look at this game, of course, but right now my prediction model is saying Pittsburgh winning the game again 5-4 tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, tonight 5-4. So that's the one we were talking about before, which would be a good pick. Okay, says audio is cutting in and out a little bit. Check the Wi-Fi or the microphone feed, Jesse. Would please. So anyway, guys, those are the games. I can run the simulator on Detroit, LA for you tonight. If you're interested in getting on that game, like I said, I was game 5-3. So again, there's 2 live dogs up there and some money to be made if you're willing to tell those plays and jump on it. Just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and look at Cincinnati and San Francisco's game tonight. And oh my simulator, guys, says that Cincinnati should win this game 2-1. So since that's such an if, and based on who's pitching, guys, you know what the big play here is? That's right, the under. Go take that under on Cincinnati, San Francisco Giants tonight. It's a good play. So yeah, guys, what do you think about the sports bettings and the legislation that's out there? Do you see any problems with it? Which, I'm sure we all do see some downsides to it, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are, guys. So jump in the chat over here and let me know what you think. Okay. Also, any games that you would like to have me run my simulator on, especially for tomorrow. I'm going to start running through a couple of the games that I had been looking at for tomorrow to see where we're at. But before I do those, I wanted to jump over to NBA real quick. Now, the game Sunday is San Antonio Spurs and Golden State Warriors. I love this line. They are giving San Antonio absolutely no chance. Golden State's favored on the money line by -720. San Antonio is getting plus 517. Wow, that's very interesting. And the line is 10.5. So if we look at the simulator on this game, which I will rerun it tomorrow just with updated numbers, and we will see what's going to happen. But guess what, guys? I have a predicted score of 100 to 101. Guess who? San Antonio. So if you want to put a little wager, maybe a 1-unit wager on San Antonio for Sunday at plus 517, it could make you a pretty good chunk of change, and that's what the simulator says so far, and I've been pretty accurate with my models. So give it a chance, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we can all make some money on that game. All right, wanted to also look at NHL. NHL's been very interesting these playoffs. Pittsburgh, I thought, should have been out a long time ago, but lo and behold, they are playing Ottawa, and this game tomorrow is at home. Pittsburgh getting 215, Ottawa 185 if we run the simulator. We have Ottawa winning that game 3-2. The total is at 5.5, so you might be leaning towards the under on this. Check it again tomorrow, and make sure that it's still hanging around that number, and we can run the simulations again. If you need to get a hold of me, you can get me on Facebook at TheRhino, and you can also get me at trendbetting.com. You can get all of our cappers at trendbetting.com, and we've got some really good cappers over there, guys. Timo the Safinator has been killing the soccer. Frank Buzz has been killing the NBA. I think his playoff run is somewhere around, I think 20 and 4, 20 and 5, something like that. And it's just he's just killing it over there. I've been cruising along at 60% in baseball so far this season. So guys, if you need some picks, we've got packages for you. Come on over, talk to us. We'll get something for you. We'll make you a deal, okay? We want to get good players on, but not just getting you on, but we want to teach you how to bet. We want to teach you money management. We want to hook you up with a great sports book. We have one of our best sports books. We made a partnership deal with that for a huge bonus for our players, and that is 5 dimes, but you have to go through our link to get that. So if you need a good sports book, hit us up and we'll get you that link, and you can get out there and get busy and then contact us, and we'll help you make some money, guys. It's not rocket science, but you have to be very disciplined, and it's just like you know, any other type of investment, stock, whether it be stock market or mutual funds or whatever. You've got to be careful. You have to learn your money management, and as long as you're disciplined, you'll do fine. So we can teach you about that. We have articles up on our new website, which isn't fully launched, but it'll be out soon. It is available. We can get you that link, and you can read all the articles that you need to learn sports betting at our new website. All right, let's go back to baseball here for tomorrow, Saturday, and let's look at a few games. I'm just going to pick some at random here, guys, because there's a few people that were in, but I haven't seen anybody ask about any particular. Oh, well, I see one question there. What's the advantage I saw on the Orioles? I'll tell you what that advantage was. Let me pull my note back up here just so I can quote it properly. But yeah, it was an interesting game. I hadn't really leaned one way or the other until I really started digging into this game. And then, pardon me while I find it here. It is Baltimore Orioles. Where are you, Baltimore? There it is, Baltimore, Kansas City. Okay. And guys, my simulator is how I make my final decision on games. Okay, because does it agree with my analysis of the game? Does it agree with all the statistics and information and conditions and situations that I've run into for this game? But I know I didn't have time for the write-up and to get that in. I was going to come back and do it, but I didn't. But here is the analysis on the Baltimore game, and it had to do with the fact that talking about Dylan Bundy, being a road start for him. Bundy, a lot of people were talking about him as a huge regression candidate. Average batted ball distance was over 206 feet, but the Royals' offense is just terrible. It's miserable. They're not, even at home, they're not hitting the ball. They're having struggles with simple plays, and notably running the bases. They're just not making smart decisions. And Baltimore is obviously the better team when it comes to playing fundamental baseball. So that's why that decision carried over into my model. And when I ran my model, it agreed with me. There was a few other statistics in there, but Baltimore being 22-11, Kansas City being 13-21. On the road, Baltimore's 9-8, Kansas City's 8-9 at home. So that and a few other factors, and then when I ran my model, it just agreed with it. And it's funny, guys, but sometimes when you're doing analysis on a game, you get that feeling in your gut, and you just know, yep, that's the right play. I made the right call. I read that right. So there was no doubt in my mind on that particular game. So sometimes it just works that way. But I don't want to give away all of my all of my secrets. But that's probably about the best way to explain that, guys. But you can get a lot more analysis from us and the guys over at trendbetting.com. We really like to have people come in and ask us questions. Doesn't matter who you are, just a member of the group or somebody that just came into the group. Doesn't matter, guys. We're here to talk sports with you. We're here to have fun. It's what it's all about. We do this 24/7, 365 because we just love it. We love to do it. All right. Let me jump down in here to tomorrow's games. Now, this is where you're going to want to take some notes and pay attention because there's some key games that I'm already looking at for tomorrow. One of them being Houston Astros at the New York Yankees. I've loved Houston in this series, and I'll tell you what, the simulator is predicting a 5-4 win at this time. Houston over New York. Houston's getting that dog line against 140 against the Yankees. So we'll take a look at that again tomorrow. Make sure of starting pitchers and look at a few other factors before we run the simulation and make sure that it agrees with what we're talking about. Another good game to look at tomorrow, guys, is Chicago-St. Louis. And Chicago-St. Louis, St. Louis hasn't been playing real good ball, but they've come back recently and really started to hit the ball. Chicago, though, is 4-6 in its last 10. So, that's something to be taken into consideration when looking at this game. So maybe a perfect opportunity to catch a home dog. Where St. Louis is 7-3 in their last 10. Okay, so a couple of things to look out for and pay close attention to on those games. Another game I kind of like tomorrow is the Twins and the Indians. The Twins are 7-3 in their last 10, averaging 5.9, almost 6 runs a game. And Cleveland is 5-5 over its last 10, averaging only 3.8 runs a game. So if we look at the simulator on this one, right now it is telling me that Minnesota's winning this game 6-4. So That's an interesting play on that. I wouldn't have thought at this point that the score difference would be that high, but it is. But this is preliminary. This hasn't taken into account all statistics up until tomorrow, including weather and things like that. So, and any potential pitching changes. Guys, there's a few other games out there tomorrow that might be really worth looking at, but you always want to look down through the lines and look for those home dogs if you can, which is good. And again, we've got one more that we wanted to look at here real quick, and that's the LA Dodgers at the Rockies. We looked at that when we were looking at the score. Kershaw's pitching tonight. The game tonight that started at 8:40. They're in the top of the third right now. And the Dodgers are leading Colorado 5-0. And I kind of hope that score holds 5-0 like that. Colorado's 7-3 in their last 10. And the Dodgers are 7-3 in their last 10 as well, averaging 6.8 runs a game. Colorado is averaging 6 runs a game. So fairly even. Over-under is set at 11, which it generally is always right around 11, depending on pitching when you're in Colorado, because the ball just likes to fly out there. However, this is a perfect opportunity, especially if Colorado gets blanked tonight by LA, to take a strong look at them being an underdog tomorrow at home. So, great game to look at, guys. And let's go check the questions and see what we have over here. Excuse me, guys. I'm a little bit dry tonight. Okay. So, oops. No additional questions at this point. But there's one other thing. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, my technical producer just reminded me I do have water here. Imagine that. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick, guys. NFL lines coming out. Draft is over, and people are shuffling people around right now. But just wanted to show you a couple of these lines that are already up. First game of the season, of course, is going to be Thursday, September 7th at 8:30, and that's Kansas City at New England. And the line is 7.5. Over/under is set at 48.5. So, based on history, but how could you possibly bet on that game? You can go with the average statistics over time, but it's just it's very, very interesting to see some of these numbers. There was a couple of teams that had double-digit lines before. I don't see them now. They must have adjusted. But here's a good one to mention: Atlanta, the Falcons at Chicago. Atlanta, being in the Super Bowl last year, is favored by 6.5 at Chicago. But Chicago's got that new rookie quarterback. So what do you guys think about him? You're more than welcome to jump in the chat on the channel anytime you want, and leave us a note, or you can pop over to LongShotsTV on Facebook and leave us a note there anytime you want. Questions, whatever, topics that you'd like us to cover. We would love to hear your feedback so that we can bring you what it is that you're wanting to know, things that we can help you out with, or just topics that you want to talk about, guys. Lucky Land says Atlanta is going to finish second to the Danes. So you think Atlanta's going to be back there, huh? It could very well be. I mean, put together a solid effort. There's no reason they couldn't. Matt Ryan's a hell of a quarterback. As long as he has that protection there and they get a little bit more defense, I think they'll be right on track. And guys, don't forget to download the new app, the Trend Better. It's on Android directly. Contact me or Jay the Storm, and we can get you the link for that. But it's got handicapping, live odds, the whole 9 yards on it. It's all there for you guys. We're trying to create this. We're trying to get it approved through
iOS and Windows here real soon, so it'll be on Apple Watch. It'll have in-app purchases and things like that as well. If you need a quick game or quick bet, we will be doing that as well. So, all right, guys, listen, we made a partnership with 5 Dimes. 5 Dimes is one of the best sports book. We've done all the research. I've spent months and months researching this sports book. And out of all of the sports books out there, when it comes to averaging all the things that you look for in a book as far as deposits and payouts and timeliness and best lines and odds and a variety of sports to bet, variety of ways to bet those sports, 5 Dimes is the way to go. So contact myself, TheRhino, or Lucky Lance Williams over at trendbetting.com or in the Trend Betting group on Facebook, and we will get you the link so that you can get a special bonus for 5 Dimes. And for you football guys, we also have a reduced juice on NFL and the NFL upcoming season through 5 Dimes exclusively, and that's exclusively through Trend Betters and trendbetting.com. So you'll want to take advantage of that, guys. Also, we're real close to getting the America's Card Room Poker Tournaments up and running. We need 5 more guys, just 5 more guys to sign up for an account through our link, and then we will be able to have and host our own tournaments, guys. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So we've got tons and tons of poker players in our Poker Nights group. So let's jump in there, guys, and get on ACR so we can start these tournaments anytime. We're just waiting on you guys. I think that was just about it, guys. We did a little bit of a rundown, gave you some games. Apparently there wasn't any other games that needed to be talked about tonight. So, but if there are, shoot me a message. I'll run them down and talk to you tomorrow. And guys, hopefully next week we will be doing Poker Nights in America with a special guest if we can get a confirmation before then. So, all right, guys. That's all I've got for tonight. This is TheRhino for LongShotsTV, reminding you to take a shot with long shots because we are the game.
Even get to bronze.